Hello, everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don, and if you're listening to this, you could only be here for one reason, and that's a brand new installment of the Major Issues podcast brought to you by ComicBook Clique. And as you know, I am never alone. Sir, introduce yourself.
Ooh, I am your Claudius Maximus, ladies and gentlemen.
And we decided on this specific episode to dive deep into the major issues, some comic books. We decided to pick up one of the best modern tales that has to do with the Dark Knight. I'm talking issues 1 through 7 of the New 52 run of Batman, otherwise known as The Court of Owls. And I'm picking this story for a very particular reason because while I seem very knowledgeable about these books, I've only been reading these episodic masterpieces since the New 52's been out. The New 52, the new initiative to start majority of their titles, or all their titles, at number 1, the rebranding of DC, that only took place in 2011. You know, that was only 7 years ago. These comics, especially Batman, goes back 75 years. So I jumped in when DC wanted me to jump in. This is Batman number 1 for the New 52.
Not a bad number 1 at all.
Now, as somebody who doesn't follow comic by comic, I know you have your selective stories and your favorite comic book characters, but how did you feel about this 7-issue run?
I read it once when I knew we were going to do this episode. I actually started to read it again. But Court of Owls was played a big part in putting Batman over with me, so I clap it up for Court of Owls.
Ah, you're gonna admit that here? You weren't a really big Batman fan.
I wasn't.
Court of Owls got a lot of buzz. You know, I heard about them before I had even read the issues.
I heard about it too, when I didn't even read about it.
You know, after reading the story, I believe they adapted a lot of the Court of Owls story, I want to say, for Batman versus Robin or one of those animated movies, where you have a Talon in there and they actually have the Court of Owls labyrinth and stuff. But I kept hearing about this Court of Owls thing, and they had this cool little campaign going where if you bought like this deluxe set, you got a mask. You got the Court of Owls mask.
Wow.
Which it was really I was really interested in the entire story. And then, you know, there's Scott Snyder, who's doing so much now. You know, he just finished Metal, which was a humongous DC event that changed everything. And it's stories like this that are the reasons why DC gave him the reins to go as far as he did here. But without further ado, let's go into a full recap and review of The Court of Owls, because this book is just so... It's basically like a movie that it deserves to go scene by scene. But I like how it opens up. Basically, Batman describing that, well, Bruce Wayne describing that Gotham is always described in many different ways by many different citizens. Some see the good in it, some see the bad in it, some see it as heroic, some see it as villainous. Some see it as particular villains like Two-Face or Killer Croc, and some people see it as Batman, and Batman likes to see it as Batman, you know.
All beating up his rogues gallery, by the way.
Yeah, when he likes to sit there and beat up his rogues gallery. But Gotham plays a humongous part in this series, in the Court of Owls story. Just like I feel like Gotham plays a big part in the Dark Knight trilogy, you know, more than the rest of the 5 movies that they made before then, where Gotham was this small stage. You have this humongous city, and this entire story is about this city and about Bruce Wayne's arrogance to think that he knows
Gotham,
the entire city. Maybe it's about Bruce Wayne's cockiness, thinking that he, you know, I mean, his family did build Gotham.
You don't know Gotham.
Yeah, and he tells people all the time that they don't know Gotham, but you know, it starts off with him basically saying, yeah, what is Gotham? And what's Gotham to you, Claudius Maximus?
Batman.
Is Gotham Batman?
And Bruce Wayne. But more Batman.
More Batman than Bruce Wayne? I think that's a fair point. a lot of people wouldn't even know about Gotham City if it wasn't for Batman. And a lot of people say that the villains that are out there in the streets, the reason why these villains are getting so drastic and dramatic is because there's an existence of a Batman. And we get to see right off the bat beautiful Greg Capullo art. We get to see Batman taking on his rogues gallery in the Arkham Asylum.
Kicking the crap out of them.
And in that first scene where you see like that shot of all his villains, all his enemies, that beautiful spread page, it's cool because you see people that you instantly recognize. Like you instantly recognize the Mr. Freeze, you instantly recognize the Two-Face, you have Scarecrow there and stuff. And then you have like Professor Pig, who's standing there that people might not know about, but he's from the run right before this. So putting him in, you know all that stuff that they were saying about with Last Jedi, like wow, like they just disregarded the person who did the movie before. Like that's cool to keep these characters afloat because it's up to the next writer to keep that burn on that character. People like Joker, and it's easy to keep those characters afloat. But with the onesies and twosies like Professor Pig, I like that they decided to keep him in there. And if you look, at first I'm like, wow, they all have their outfits on. Why are they allowed to have their outfits? But look, they're like blankets and stuff. Professor Pig has a blanket over his nose. That's not like a real pig mask. It's a blanket with his ears cut off and rubber bands around his ears and stuff like that. But Batman just is beating the hell out of everybody. And then he kind of bumps into the Joker.
Job Squad.
And instantly you're like, oh yeah, of course, come on, Batman, Joker. I know Batman. That's how this goes. That's how this works. And they fight side by side, and it's Batman and the
That
Joker.
bugged me out. I was like, what's going on here?
And I also
The plot thickens.
in the beginning I was like,
I was gonna open this up.
That Joker looks demonic, you know. And Greg Capullo is famous for drawing Spawn, and you could see, you know, those devilish lines on Joker's face, the way his mouth curls up and his eyes are all blackened. But yeah, they team up and they're able to take everybody down. And then again, another classic. Like we were playing the hits, right? We go to the Rogues, we see the entire legendary Rogues gallery. Then what's the next thing? Boom! Got to go to the bat signal. Got to go to do the rooftop stuff.
Jim.
So we do the rooftop stuff with Gordon, and you know it's basically the common stuff like, oh, you know, I know one of the Arkham Asylum guys, one of the cops was dirty, and I found some dirt on him. And how do you know that? Oh, you know, I know things you don't know.
Not him.
By the way, he's getting divorced.
Really, Batman?
Yeah. At this point, Gordon should just be believing everything Batman says. I mean, it's not like he needs to be showing up in the middle of the night, doing all this stuff. Do you think Gordon waits for Batman to show up to start smoking?
Maybe.
Or you think he's just out there like chain smoking until he shows up?
I think the thought of Batman causes stress.
I gotta talk to this weird guy. But I like that. I like that he's like, oh my god, another, you know, dirty cop. Is there anyone? Is there no one that is clean in here or whatever, something like that?
In Gotham.
Like, yeah, he's like, is there? There's nobody the scum of Gotham can't get to, is there? And Batman goes, I wouldn't say that. And then you see like Gordon smirk because Gordon's all like,
that was for you, Jim Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon's all like,
for you, Jim Gordon.
And it sets the relationship up right there, you know, where they respect each other, they're kind to one another, and even compliments. And then boom, again, a nice spread page. What am I saying? There's a nice spread page of
the 12-car garage.
Look at that, the inventory of the Bat Cave, and you see like movie vehicles in there, you see comic book vehicles in there. The T-Rex has to be in there, the big penny. He has like the little scuba thing, and Joker is in there. What the heck is Joker doing inside the Batcave?
I don't know, but I was ready to find out. I was waiting for Bruce to wake up or something.
So you already knew like something was off.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, huh? What's going on?
But before we find out what's going on with the
Somebody
Joker,
wake up.
before we find out what's going on with the Joker, we're told about this cool little gadget that Bruce has been coming up with. It's a contact lens. It's Google Glass. This was like years before they even came up with any of that kind of stuff. And basically, he gets that heads-up display anywhere. It's a direct link to the Batcave. So
Batcave on eyes.
So boom, look, we're 16 pages in about, And we've already established that he's an inventor. We already established that he's a detective, and we already established that he could beat people up. And he beat up a whole horde of people in Arkham Asylum. And right before it looks like he's about to beat up the Joker, we find out that it's just Master Dick.
Psych.
Master Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson using some sort of what kind of technology?
Batman technology.
EMP mask. Does that make sense?
That
Electromagnetic pulse
that
mask.
That sounds elaborate, but
it sounds like these are enough acronyms.
I'm not asking any
that
questions.
You wouldn't ask
it
any
sounds
questions.
smart enough, so
Yeah.
we're rolling with it. Yeah.
But you like that effect, how the mask just
Yes, I do.
disappears, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, so how you think I did?"
But it shouldn't have a Joker function.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he did ask him, well, how'd he do?
How do you answer that question?
No, I'm not answering that question.
Yeah,
no,
he's like,
I'm not even asking that question.
He's like, how did you play how good were you at playing the Joker? Yeah, you were great. And I think he says that. He's like, you were great. But the next page has one of my most favorite images ever. It's the guy suited up. It's Bruce and his sons. All his sons, well, 3 out of 4 of his sons. But it's Bruce Wayne there with Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, and Dick Grayson, 3 out of the 4 Robins. 3 out of the 4 of the ones that matter. I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but that's my personal opinion. And first thing I noticed from everybody is look at everybody's eyelashes. Everybody is. I was like, why do these guys look so fancy? Why do they look so elegant? Because look at the eyelashes that Greg draws on these guys. They're pretty well. They're doing the manscaping well, as you could tell. Look at those strong jaws. Look at that tasseled hair. Look at Bruce's hair. It's up there, out of control.
Dapper gentlemen.
They're all dapper. Yeah, except for look at Damien's shoes.
Yeah,
Damien's wearing the kicks,
right,
like Converses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Damien will be into Converses, something lightweight, while you're going around as the son of an assassin. But yeah, they have a gala. They have like another one of those, and that's another right Batman thing. Oh, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna go to the gala, and yada yada yada. I'm Batman. Well, he doesn't say I'm Batman, but basically he says, just like Batman, I could be a savior. We should be thinking about the future. We shouldn't be worrying about the past. I have a bad past. My parents were gunned down in Crime Alley. Does everybody remember? And then
he cries.
And he cries, and then they show.
Cry.
Then there's a zoom into the graves for some reason, and then I'm just joking. You hear him basically saying it's the truth. Like, we need to move past this. Gotham is not just Crime Alley. Gotham is not where everyone's always talking about what Gotham is. Gotham is the future, and we should be thinking about the future. So I'm going to take some of the old buildings down and build some brand new buildings, and everything's going to be great because I'm a millionaire. And money. Yeah, and everyone's like, oh wow, that's a great speech. Yeah, clapping it up. And then Alfred just pops up and he's like, you didn't tell them they were going to build a new bat bunker, sir. And Bruce like,
Shut up, Alfred.
Shut up, Alfred. Everyone can hear you. What are you doing?
I will snap your neck like a twig.
Then Vicky Vale shows up, of course, and she is like, wow, look at, you helped out the Gazette, and I would call you the Man of Tomorrow if I wasn't calling him the Man of Tomorrow.
Ooh.
Right? What was that about? That was like some gossip column?
She needs to relax.
That was some gossip column stuff, right?
Relax.
That was like a diss? Is that what the kids call it?
Bruce should have swift kicked her right in the shin.
But then you meet Lincoln March. What did you think about Lincoln March when you first saw him? Did you think this guy was going to stick around? Good guy, bad guy?
I was suspicious.
We don't really find out what happens with Lincoln March at the end of this book, but he kind of looks like Superman a little bit.
Running for mayor.
I've heard a lot of people say he looks like Superman. But yeah, he's running for mayor, and he doesn't want money.
Nope.
He only wants Bruce's vote. That's all I want.
A friend request.
And Bruce is like, I don't do that. Stop asking me for favors.
Not into that stuff.
Stop asking me for favors.
Just take this check.
But yeah, he they're talking, or he's just talking his ear off, and then you see Gordon's in the corner, and Bruce is like, yeah. So you were telling me, lip read, go, and he starts to lip read Jim Gordon, and Jim Gordon's like, oh my God, what's going on? I got dead. He's like,
how many stab wounds?
Yeah, he's like, I bet you money you didn't even have to do the lip reading. He's probably yelling it in the corner, huh? Bleeding to death. My God. But he's like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I gotta go do something. My refrigerator's running, and I gotta go catch it." And so he's out there as Batman now. He's gonna go to investigate this murder that Jim Gordon was just tipped off to, and Harvey Bullock is there. And this guy,
Yeah,
like,
I
this
was
is
looking
what
at this.
tells you
I
what
was
kind of
looking at this before reading the panel, and for a minute before
it
before
kind
I
of
start
messes your
reading,
head
I
up,
was just
right?
like, oh
It's like this is a
snap!
comic book. This is like Super Friends, you know. But off the rip, you see that this is not a normal book here. This man is being, I mean, he is crucified, and he is just impaled with several daggers, and he's just standing there. He's just being held up by these daggers. He's actually on a little stool, but he's bleeding out. He's already dead, and Batman and Bullock are just standing, looking at the body
They're like,
and
well,
investigating it.
what do you guys want to do?
But the way that, I mean, they show it like
Yeah,
that,
they
like
do
it's
show
just
it.
it's all
It
there.
does
It's
look
all the
crazy.
blood and everything, and you find out that this guy was stabbed, you know, and he's been here for days, but that none of the stabbings were on any of the major arteries. They basically just wanted this guy to suffer, and then they look and they see that each dagger has an owl on it, and so they go, "Oh well, there's got to be that." Well, Harvey's like, "Oh, it might be that court of owls thing." Pepper's like, "No, it's not. Shut up, shut up. Don't
Never.
let's not talk about that." And then another cool detective scene. Batman's like, "Oh, but I smell some linseed oil. Let me get that cigar that you got there, Harvey." He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, let me get that cigar." He's like, "No, it's probably just painting." Boom, throws the cigar on the oil. Big flaming message. Big instant message for Bruce. Bruce Wayne will die tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
There's a
Dun,
lot of.
dun, dun.
It's already a lot of planning, right? You got this fire. You got this guy crucified a couple days ago, and then even Harvey puts it. Harvey's like, "Yeah, but what's tomorrow? How did we know? How did they know that you were gonna find him today?" And they're like, "Well, they found the body today, huh?" Like, yeah, and is it because the landlord does routine checks, right? And only checks on one day, huh? Yeah, well, yeah, they plan for that, and so Batman already is not taking any chances. And he was able to swab for DNA and send the data to the Batcave
Under the fingernails of the
under
dead
the
dude.
fingernails of the guy that was crucified,
Of the John Doe.
and it comes up Dick Grayson.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Now that's the first. That's the
That
ending.
was cool.
That's the end of issue 1. So first cliffhanger. Dick Grayson. What does he have to do with this murder? And we already go right back into the action because issue 2 opens up talking about the gargoyles. Every one of these issues is beautiful because it starts off with a history lesson of Gotham and then explains about how having this knowledge of Gotham helps Batman out. And having this knowledge of Gotham makes Batman feel confident in fighting in his city. But throughout this issue, you start realizing that maybe he don't know it as much as he thinks he does. And this one in particular, where he's like, and uh, he made a observatory deck, and for everyone to see, he made it with the best glass. It was like Donald Trump, the best glass, the unbreakable glass. This glass will never
We're a tall
break.
building. We're gonna make it open
It's gonna be the
on the
best building,
weekends for the people.
the most gargoyles. We're gonna have tons of gargoyles, and so the unbreakable. He's talking about the unbreakable glass, and then when you turn the page, boom, Bruce Wayne is being thrown through that unbreakable glass. He has two daggers in his brachial arteries, and he looks to be falling towards his death again. Like this comic is moving 500 miles an hour. Like one page, you look and there's nothing going on. It's just these sweeping views of Gotham, and these long paragraphs about um, what Gotham is. And when I say long, I just mean detailed. They're not boring or anything. But then you turn the page and you're like, you almost don't want to even you rush to get to those information boxes because you're like, what is going on in this picture? Because the first thing you see is Bruce Wayne almost smashing through the page at you, saying that he was just attacked. And we go back a little bit further to see Batman trying to find out more information. He's chasing after a train, uh, and you get to see him do some more cool Batman stuff, some more cool Batman action when he's out there smashing through. And you got to see him on a motorcycle, which is always cool. The Bat Cycle. What do you think about the Bat Cycle? Pretty cool, huh?
Vroom, vroom, vroom. You know what? You know what? What's funny about that thing? I always wish he used it more because I always forget he has it.
Yeah. And
Because I always see him on the plane a lot.
you see him in the Batmobile from time to time, but he really also seems to like really just like doing the grappling hook
Hmm.
stuff, like really just patrolling the city that way. But he does his Batman stuff, and he finds out that he has an appointment. Well, he remembers. Alfred reminds him that he has an appointment to go to the morgue to go meet Commissioner Gordon because they have the guy that was stabbed all those times,
John
and
Doe.
and they're going to do a autopsy on him, and they're like, oh yeah, this guy's been tortured, straight up and down tortured, choked on his own blood, the whole nine. And then from the Batcave again, Bruce Wayne is able to press a button, and some security camera is able to analyze the entire scene and give Bruce the information that he needs. And he basically is like, "Oh, this guy was a boxer. He seems to have been some sort of like high level trainer." They try to like run some because they still can't identify this guy,
Hmm.
so they try to run some information, and then they
Indeed.
find something in his tooth. And when they look, yeah, that is when they find the thing in his tooth, right?
Hmm.
And they talk about the owls and that they're um the symbol of power and money and all that kind of stuff. And Gordon starts to say the little nursery rhyme, and Batman again, no, I don't want to talk about that. And
Not real, Alfred.
then Dick shows up, Nightwing, and this is Nightwing, red and black Nightwing. This is the only red and black Nightwing. How do you feel about red and black versus blue and black Nightwing?
Uh,
I need answers right now. I need
I'm
allegiance right now.
I'm a sucker for red and black, so I'm gonna go red and black.
You're a red and black Nightwing guy.
Monastic red and black.
All right. Well, we got Nightwing here. Nightwing's all just asking, "Hey, oh wow, this cool material and stuff like that." And he's like, "Yeah, he had your DNA under his fingernails, by the way." And the entire time, Dick's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I met that guy, bumped into him, crazy guy, scratched me." He was
Trying to
telling me,
grab me up.
he's like, "Owls, owls, owls,"
Who
something kind of
who
crazy
who
like
who
that.
who who? I was like, what? What?
He's
Who?
like, "What?" And he called security. Security came and pulled him away, but he had the scratches, whatever. And he's like, "How did he get your DNA?" He's like, "Bro, he scratched me. You want to see it? I can show you the marks and stuff." And he's like, "Nah, there's no need for that." He's like, "Yeah, you're right. There is no need for that because you have the security footage and you saw him do it. You were just asking me to fight to see if I was gonna lie or not. Do you think it's fair for Batman to be
No.
no?
But you know what? It has to be done.
Uh,
Somebody's got to do it.
Now while you're in this, while you're up to this point, and you as a non-Batman fan, how do you feel about like the portrayal? Do you feel like he's been put like as too smart or
Oh
too?
nah, I think it's just the mystique and the toughness is well spread. Well spread.
All right.
Me gusta mucho.
We get to find out what the heck happened in that tower that Batman
Yeah,
was
yeah, we here now.
thrown out of because we have Lincoln March there, and Lincoln's like, "Hey, I want to talk to you," and Batman keeps trying to make it about money and
Hmm.
keeps trying to make it about leaving. Several points, he's like, "Oh yeah, so how many zeros? How much do you want?" He's like, "I don't want your money. My mother died." In a similar fashion, and I was, traumatized by it, but I was able to move past it. Gotham has to move past it. Gotham is. But you know, we need allies in this city because allies in this city are few or far between. Gotham saved me, gave me a purpose when I was alone, and I bet it did the same thing for you. So he's trying to, sympathize with him. And Bruce's like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool and stuff. And then he's like, we need to be on the same side, especially now. And Bruce's like, what do you mean, especially now? And he's like, something bad is coming. And before before he can
Dun,
find out what that
dun,
bad thing is,
dun.
an assistant comes like
Knocks at the door.
throws thrown through, covered in his own blood, and we get our first look at a Talon, the assassin of the Court of Owls. Cool look, right?
Hmm.
Cool little
Very
goggles.
owlish.
I mean, head to toe black. It basically looks like a ninja. But look at those hatchets that he has behind him. Look at those handles. You know that those things on the other end are huge.
It's going
Um,
down.
and those are the across his chest are the daggers that he stabbed. Well, that were in the John Doe that was seen crucified earlier. And March is all tough, you know. March is like, oh, you think that could scare me? Boom, gets stabbed right off the rip. But it turns out the owl is not there for March because the owl is there for Bruce because Bruce had one day since he found the clues inside that apartment when he set that message on fire. He had one day before this Talon was gonna come get him. Um, and I like that we get inside Batman's head here. This is
It's out
what
in the public.
separates Batman. This is what separates
Hmm.
Batman from the movies. You can't have a scene like what's going on here, um, uh, without these little boxes to let you know what's going on in his head. He says, "I don't recognize him. He's someone new. He's someone fast." You know, so you're already on the train with him. Like, oh, it's not, it's not this person, it's not that person. Okay, it's just me and him. But I have to be careful. I have to restrain myself. Never know who's watching. I go for strikes that look like lucky blows at the solar plexus. The man, you know, that
Mandibular
nerve.
nerve.
All right, playtime's over, and then he tries to like put him to sleep, and he's like,
Homeboy's just not with
and,
it.
and he's like, who is this guy? The amount of pressure that I'm applying, I should have crushed his windpipe. And how do you portray that in a movie? That none of that these are going on in his head. So that's why, like, I always felt like the movies do the best job that they can, but a lot of Batman, especially when you read when Arthur writers like Zack Snyder are working on a project, a lot of it is what goes on in his head, the logic that goes on in his head, and he first thing he thinks of is like, oh, Venom, right? Because the only other person that he fought that was the strongest Bane, so he's like, gotta be Venom. And then you hear it, Bruce Wayne, the Court of Owls has sentenced you to die, and with a swift
Die.
kick, he kicks him through the glass, and Bruce. And it's funny because Bruce is still even able to logically come.
Yeah,
He's like,
think and come
yeah.
up with something.
Oh, he must have kicked me at a certain point, like maybe at the corner of the glass because the middle of it's meant to bend. And I'm like, wow, you got a lot of time to think about things when you're falling off. So he goes to jump and he's thinking about grabbing one of the guardians, the five guardians, but he's scared that the pressure when he grabs the guardian, the speed in which he's falling will
Rip
rip his
his arm
arm
off.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but you hear the Talon say, I love killing Waynes," which is like, oh snap, what? It's like you've been killing Waynes out here, like
Word.
small Waynes, like what's going on? And Bruce Wayne basically says like, oh well, there was another Guardian that people didn't know about. It was the Guardian that was for visitors arriving by air. He was able to grab onto a hidden gargoyle at the last minute, which sends the body of the Talon smashing through a somebody's nice convertible. You know, I don't know if you is that an act of God?
Unfortunately,
Is that
I
an
feel like
act?
everybody's got a convertible in comics.
Is that an act of God? Can you sue for that?
Maybe.
I don't know.
No, I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, they don't cover your insurance.
Nope.
But I like this, right? So then he's just talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, he made a mistake, and not in my city. That will never happen in my city." And as he's talking, we have a scene straight out of a movie where they take the body, they put it on the stretcher, they put him in the
Ambulance.
ambulance. His eyes light
He
up
just
through the
wakes up.
things. He gets up. You see a bunch of blood splattered all over the ambulance, and now he's driving it. It's like Terminator, like monster's back, and it's just it's the first uh sign that Batman's in over his head. Do you think he could have took him if he went for Batman up there,
Shoot.
or was that like I had no idea what this was?
Nah, I have no idea what this was. Maybe I'm gonna say yeah, but by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah. I mean, he really didn't expect somebody to be coming for him like that. Uh, Real quick, we are informed about the ancestor of Batman.
The great grandpappy.
Was that what it was?
Yep.
Alan Wayne, the great
Alan Wayne.
grandpappy. Apparently,
The
Alan was
great
very.
great
He
grandpappy.
went crazy. He was very paranoid, and he was always talking about how there was owls after him. The man dies falling inside of a manhole cover. How do you feel about that?
It's
The
painful.
great Wayne dying by death from a manhole cover. Thought that was kind of crazy, but you see, they do a little flashback to that, but then you go back to Gotham City now, and Bruce Wayne is still trying to find out for some more information. He's trying to find out. He's like, well, if the owl got into the building, he must, maybe he's using these tunnels. Maybe that's how we don't know about these people. So he goes in the tunnels and fights like one of the random tunnel gangs.
Mhm.
And he's like,
All
where's
of
the
the
owl?
gangs.
He's like, where's the owl? Yeah, he fights all the gangs. Like, I fight all the
I
tunnel
need
gangs.
answers.
I fought the multiple.
Owls. Who?
I fought the multiple tunnel gangs, and no one knew anything about this the Court of Owls. So he goes right back to Alfred, and Alfred's still trying to make him soup, and he's like, I don't know, Alfred,
Who?
it's the
Alfred,
damn
who?
Court of Alfred. That's at the Court of Alfred. Could you imagine that?
Court of who's?
But after a while, after beating around the bush, Batman's like, Alfred, tell me what you know about owls, because this guy said he loved killing Waynes, and did anything weird happen to any of my family members? And this is like what I said when he says Alan Wayne, he went crazy. He always thought that owls were trying to get him, and like that there was people trying to get him, and so he decided to get in, like bombard himself in his house. But then he went even crazier because he started to feel like the owls were inside the walls and bugging out. And Bruce was like, oh, that's crazy. And so he goes to go visit Lincoln March in the hospital. And Lincoln March is like, bro, you making me look bad. Like, you got kicked out of a window and you coming to visit
Walking
me.
in.
Yeah, to visit me, and I got stabbed. You kind of making me look bad, bro. Like, and they talk a little bit, and that's when Lincoln says, I think that I'm being watched by this secret society. I think, it sounds like it's silly, but, this is like the third or fourth person. Bullock brought it up. Then Alfred, now, and Gordon, I believe, mentioned it. And Bruce keeps saying, no, no, no. And he mentions that, even though his grandfather believed it, he doesn't. But screw it. Everyone's talking about it. Let's see what this is about. He has a hunch. He believes that the Court of Owls is a superstition. And so another superstition is that the 13th floor of every building is unlucky. And so they build nothing on the 13th floor. They skip floors when they make this. Did you know about this?
Mm-mm.
So I heard about it. I didn't believe it, and then I started to check buildings, and yeah, this is true. That
Wow.
there's an unlucky floor. I don't. It's between 12 and 14. And so he's like, oh well, if this is a suspicious thing, this Court of Owls thing, let's see how suspicious. Maybe you know, they could be using that entire floor as something. But what are the odds? And he goes and he checks one of the buildings that his great grandfather
Great
had a
great grandfather.
yeah. They established a trust, and they were able to acquire a bunch of different properties. I think they said over 20 properties. And so Batman starts checking these properties. He starts checking the 13th floor on all these properties, and they have like bat caves, like armories for these talents. Like, you see suits, you see pictures, there's owl selfies, you see masks, you see like ancient ones, you see a picture from 1891, and then you see a picture from 2005, so you know that all this stuff is recent. And Batman's become obsessed with, like, they're here, like they're in every they're here, they've been here, like they it's an infestation, and a secret one that I didn't even know about. And he's like, it's crazy, and he says to himself, all this time, right beneath our, and then we don't get to see him, we don't get to hear the rest of it, because boom, the building explodes, and all you see is a Talon watching from afar with an owl, which is, I mean, that's just cold.
Pretty cut and dry right there.
With an owl there. And again, another cliffhanger. Seemingly, the great Batman has been blown up. Because, think about it. You blow up a whole floor, you're dead, right? Who's going to survive that? Batman can survive that.
Could be.
And then you go to the next page, Batman's like, it's not really the bomb that hurts you when you. I'm like, what do you mean? The bomb part?
Yes, Batman, tell
The
me.
bomb
what
part is
hurt-
not the part
what
that.
hurts. The bomb doesn't hurt? Oh, man,
The
don't tell
bomb,
me that.
the bomb part is the weak. He basically said, like, the bomb part is the weakest part. It's all about what hurts more is the fear, because he hit some tripwire. So he's like, what hurts more is the fear that someone could lay tripwire down and know that you're gonna trip over it, because that says that they know where you're at better than you do. And I'm like, yeah, but it also means they want to kill you, and you got pretty damn lucky. But he's able to like get out of this like collapsing, this collapsing floor, this 13th floor that's actually falling in on him. Does some cool maneuvering with a grappling hook, and then here comes pretty boy Dick Grayson. Look at those eyelashes. You see what I'm talking about? Am I joking? My man has the mascara on. He is out here, but he's out, and turns out that Bruce is he's all beat up, still completely obsessed about this damn mystery. Well, he's a detective, and that makes a lot of sense. And he's checking the bones of Alan Wayne, which I mean, didn't he told Alfred to get the body, right?
Weird.
Alfred,
Weird. I
get
still
the
thought that
body
was weird.
again, Master Bruce. It's the
Another
sixth.
one.
No, it's the sixth body you made me uncover, Master Bruce. But he has this because his great grandfather. You gotta think it's about. I don't remember what year. It says some what year. But it's been a very very long time, and people are still trying to say like, why are you so skeptical? Why are you bugging out? You should kind of know what's going on with this stuff. You know, um, and he tells Dick tells Bruce like the assassin is calling himself the Talon. You know, uh, Talon owls. Like, do you remember that whole thing? And Bruce is like, "Shut up." It doesn't.
Again.
Yeah.
Again. Stop it. Stop it. I'll punch you in
But
the face.
basically, he keeps saying like everything is pointing at this Court of Owls thing. It sounds crazy, but it might be true. And Bruce is like, "No, it's not true. 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 It's not true." And it's like, why? And basically, he's like, "Because I checked. I checked, Dick. When I was a child, my parents were killed, and I remembered the nursery rhyme. And I checked for the Court of Owls because I saw an owl's nest. I thought they were sending me a message. So I checked for the Court of Owls, and I got locked in my attic for a week. And I almost died, and they had to keep me in the hospital for 3 weeks. And that's the reason why I never checked again, which is a pretty good reason why. Think about it. Could you imagine? First of all, they couldn't find him for over a week? What's going on here? That's how big that house was. But yeah, over a week, 3 weeks in the hospital, and he's like, I will never check out this Court of Owls thing again.
A
Open and
milder
shut
Bruce
case.
Wayne back in the day.
Open and shut case. I checked the entire one house that I've lived in, and so the Court of Owls does not exist. And but Dick still is giving it to him. I think that it's also very important how they're writing Dick in this book, right? Like he's never once like you could tell he respects Bruce, but he's never once backing down. The entire time he's like, no, well maybe you're wrong. Well maybe you were a kid. Well maybe you're not looking at things clearly. Well maybe you don't know Gotham as much as you do. And I
Ooh.
think that's Robin's kind of job, right? To kind of check Batman and be like, do you got a handle on this like you think you do? But he's like, don't worry, there's no evidence. There's no evidence. There's no evidence. There's no evidence. So, but he says basically he says a mic dropping comment. He says, Gotham is over 400 years old, which means over the years maybe it belonged to something else too. He said Gotham is your city. How's Gotham your city? You what? Well, it's new 52, right? So you're
30.
what, 30? You're 30 years old. This thing's been around for 400 years, and there couldn't be something around longer than me, longer than 30 years. And I think that really bothers Batman. I think that bothers Bruce Wayne. Somebody whose family has, their blood is on. It's
Right.
in Gotham,
And he's put down
literally
so
on the streets of
yeah, and
Gotham.
he's put down so much work for Gotham that in his head it's impossible.
Yeah, his family's put so much for Gotham. And he's even talking. You saw him talking about the future. He's trying to build like a monorail, a future transportation system. But instead of trying to build skyscrapers and looking at the skyline of Gotham, he decides to go into the sewers of Gotham again because he's like, Grandpappy fell through here. Maybe there's some evidence. Maybe I can find out some things. And he gets basically ransacked by ambushed by a Talon who grabs him up and he falls down a hole. And the next thing we hear is, "Welcome, Batman, to the labyrinth."
Dun, dun,
And we see
dun.
a bunch of people in creepy owl masks looking over the Talon. So with these pictures, we've seen these guys have been around forever. They have a labyrinth, so that tells me that they have, they built this thing. It's been around for a very long time, um, and they know a way to be in and out. This is the first time anyone's found any evidence of them, to my knowledge. And they now the one person that seemingly has the evidence on them is captured by them. I like these next couple of panels. It's basically Gotham without Batman, and you see Commissioner Gordon there with his scarf. Look at that scarf
With
on
the
for this.
bat signal staying on.
And
Damn it.
look how cool Harvey Bullock looks with that fire, with the when he's lighting a cigarette. But he's like, "Hey man, the bat signal. You can't be running it. It's gonna get too hot." And he's like, "Nah, leave it on, leave it on. We're waiting for him." And he's like, "Why are you gonna leave it on for? You're gonna run out of juice." And he's like, "Well, it's not just." He's like, "He's not coming." He's like, "He's not coming." He's like, "It was not just for
But the
him."
bill will come, and you're
Yeah.
gonna have to pay it, Jim Gordon.
But Jim's gonna have to pay that electrical bill. But Jim's like, I'm doing it for everyone. I'm doing it for the ones that are scared, the ones that are hurting, the ones that might think that now Gotham is their playground. And I thought that was pretty cool. The good guys, the bad guys, the whole city. And then we step into the madness, the absolute madness that is the labyrinth. I need you to just tell me how you felt about this entire
It
sequence.
was
here.
bananas. I've nowhere anywhere have I seen Batman so
Like
like
distraught,
yeah,
confused,
like
erratic.
disconnected from. Oh my god.
And I never read panels. This is the first time I read panels like this where he's just falling into a deeper madness, and then the
Yeah, you
pages
see it,
start to
dude.
move.
Yeah, you got to at one point you got to turn it upside down.
You know, Scott Snyder, the writer of this book, had to beg DC to print the issues that way because DC was scared that people were going to bring them in and say, "Hey, you guys messed these up. I want a refund."
Wow.
But you see the labyrinth. It looks completely dark, but then Batman is able to follow the this weird maze into this weird, big, brightly lit, I guess maybe center where this owl is there, and there's a bunch of water, and Batman doesn't want to drink, but he takes a little sip, and it turns out that there is something in that water that has to do a lot with metal, Dark Knight's metal, and the tooth that is part of this talent stuff. Also, electrum has to do with metal, but you you're in Batman's head and he's talking weird and frantic, right? They hear everything. They have special ears. I gotta go back to the dark. Have to find a way to the dark, away from the light. Wait, how could I be here again? Because it's a story, Bruce. They're telling you a story, room by room, over and over, every part. He's just bugging out, and he gets into this room of victims, and look at how many pictures are on that wall. These this trap, this labyrinth has gotten cost so many lives of the people of Gotham, and Batman's alone. But somebody's leading him, right? Somebody's turning on these lights, and somebody's they're messing with him. He's literally the rat in the trap that's running around and being messed with. But he bugs out. He sees a camera, punches the camera, and then he like hallucinates and sees people down the hallway and starts to run away. He's still running through the labyrinth, and that's when things start to twist and turn. You start to see that the pages start to turn, and you remember what was said in the conversation between Harvey and Jim, in the sense that it's already been a week. So Batman's been down here a week, no food, nothing to drink.
Nothing.
His eyes are bloodshot.
Just
the
a
cowl,
broken bat.
The cowl is all
raggedy,
jacked up.
jacked.
And I like how with the cowl on, and even Dick Grayson with the mask, they have the white eyes like in the animated series. But with the eye busted out, you can see like the bloodshot and he's unshaven. He has like a 5 o'clock shadow.
No sleep.
And he's bugging out, and then he walks into a room, and there's a bunch of red caskets, and he's just he's just bugging out. He's seeing owls everywhere. He's seeing people looking at him, and then he sees his parents, and his parents show up, and they're like, "Oh, Bruce," and he's like, "Oh my God, mother, father," and they're like, "Oh, Bruce, I miss you. Is it really you?" And then in pure nightmare fuel, their mouths just open up in these weird, sick kind of zombie gore things, and then there's owl's blood. Like what? At this point, what do you think is going on?
I have no idea. I've already think Batman's completely unplugged from any and everything. He's already lost it. He's already broken. What's next for the
And
Batman?
we've never seen this man
No,
like that.
I've never seen this. So I was just like, and I'm taking my time through everything now. Like at this time, at
Yeah.
this point, I'm milking everything, dude.
I think another thing is maybe this is also maybe something that the movies are scared to do. Have somebody go this far into the madness.
Sheesh.
Um, he's done this. They I've seen him go into craziness and other things like in Metal. At one point, he's in a dark dimension and he has things replaying over and over in his head, and that gets kind of crazy. And I seen one where he's in the story The Cult, where he is same things like sleep deprivation, torture, and your mind starts messing with you. They
Right.
they do some crazy stuff, but you can only do it in comics, right? Because it's art. So you can only do these weird twisting panels and these weird things playing with your mind uh, here. And so Batman is looking and he sees a picture of himself amongst all the pictures of the things on the wall, and he's had enough, and then boom, stabbed right through the back.
Mm.
Is a Talon, and that's maybe
Is
Gotham
it?
is a Talon, right?
Ah.
Gotham is a Talon, and the Talon just stabbed him in the back. And look at that shot of the of that, just the knife, and the weird claws that Batman has. I guess those are owl claws, right? Owl talons.
Mm.
Do bats? I go
But
bat
Bruce
talons.
thinks he's got him because he's already lost it.
Yeah, he lost it
So
and he stabbed. I that would have been game over for me. I would have been done. The next page we got, I think it's one of the most touching panels, especially if you're new to the New 52, if you're new to guys like Damian Wayne. You have the light busted. Basically, the bat signal has busted after too much overuse, and people are asking what they should do with it. And Damien says, "Get a new one." And then he says, "Now." I said, "Now." And then you look, and he looks like he's about to cry. He says, "Now, please." And Jim hugs him, and it just shows you like
yeah,
everyone's also going crazy because no one knows where Batman is,
it's
and
already been a week now. There's some change.
everybody's stressed. And you get back, you have the Talon with that knife deep inside. Look at those two cool shots of Batman hanging on that wall. See him in the. He's got two selfies on the wall of shame, and but Batman is there, and he's been stabbed, and he's been sentenced to die, and so the Talon just sits there and starts talking all his smack, right? You're nothing. You see that? Uh, do you have anything left to say before we kill you? And then he says, I present you the Batman. He holds Batman above his head, and the lights come on, and you can see that there's an audience. People have been watching this entire thing. The Court of Owls has been watching this entire thing. And they're all wearing their owl masks, but to Batman, they look like these crazy, savage owl people, which I thought was a good personification, right? Like, that's exactly what they are. I mean, uh, whether you haven't had sleep or water or whatever. Um, but they just trying to decide what they want to do with Batman, and they decide, oh, we're gonna ask the littlest girl. Come on, the littlest member of our tribe, the youngest Court of Owls member. It seems to be a little girl. She seems to be about 4 or 5 years old, and they ask him, "What do you want to do with Batman?" And she says, "Hurt him more." And so, I was like,
That was
"Damn it!"
crazy. I was like, oh crap,
Batman's like,
Batman.
"Damn
We're
it!"
gonna have to eat these more now.
And so the Talon just goes in and is just beating the
Yeah, he
hell
went
out
to
of
town.
Batman. And that's another thing that I was shocked about with this and certain other comics was the gratuity of the blood. Because you don't get that even in comic book movies all that much, right? You're not seeing people bleed. I guess because people got lasers and all this woo, all this other kind of stuff. No, excuse me, no sharp objects and stuff. But blood every like busting the nose. You got palm strikes to the face, and basically he busts him through a wall. And now the entire Court of Owls is sitting there as an audience as the Talon seems to be ready to destroy Batman. And now they're all about to jump him, like in a dog pile kind of situation. And Batman just thinks about his great great grandpappy and how he didn't have any help and that he needs to stand up and he needs to be the help that he wished he had. And he says enough.
All
And I
right,
just love
Batman.
I just love the way he's drawn there. He looks like a freaking what is that, King Kong?
King Bat. Bat King.
And from here on out, from this moment,
It's on like
this
Donkey
is the
Kong.
superpower that they say that Batman has. This is the super will, because Batman stands up, and they the Court of Owls runs, which shows you how cowardly they are. Batman's had a week of no sleep, um, and Batman's just ready. He's become savage. You can see his teeth. He's being drawn almost like a monster because he probably feels like one at this point. Forget being human. Forget raw laws and rules and all this other kind of stuff. You guys are trying to kill me. I have to survive. I have to get out of here. I'm dying. You just stabbed me to the back. I'm dying. And so the Talon keeps trying to talk smack, but Batman is over it. He says he's tired of owls and proceeds to commence a beating. I, how would you describe this?
The wax of the booty.
He beat
That's
beat
it.
the hell
That's it.
out of
Yeah,
this
he beat
Talon.
the crap
He
out of Talon.
beats him through the wall and talking smack the entire time. He's like, "This is not the real Gotham.
Batman digging
You're
deep.
nothing but a hired thug. You're a pawn. You're nothing special." And knocks him around. All you are is finished. Knocks him out, and is able to, in his Bat CSI MacGyver way, blow up a hole in the area to go down and hopefully find some solace. Find a good place, any place, right? It has to be better than where he was at. So he falls, and you see his eyes close, and he looks like he's about to drown. Meanwhile, you have uh the court. I guess the leader of the Court of Owls, some old chick in a wheelchair,
Mhm.
is wheeled in to the room that Batman just escaped out of, and they're like, "Well, what do you want to do with the body of the Talon?" And she's like, just get rid of it." And they're like, "We sure you don't want to like rejuvenate it? You don't want to like do the whole thing?"
Yeah, like we bring him back.
And she's like, "Nah, he won't be. He he can't do what we want him to do. Basically, you can heal him, but not truly. Uh, not in the important way. Not from that beating. So he got such a legendary beating that even resurrecting him, he would be useless." And she goes, "Oh, but don't worry, dear. We have so many more of them. All we have to do is wake him up." And you see that
Yeah, that
shot.
next panel, I was like, we got more. Oh my god,
And
Batman!
how
Just
crazy was that? Like
retire,
the way they
move,
set up,
go,
the way they
move.
set up
I
that
heard
first Talon,
Wakanda's nice.
the way they set up that first Talon, this killing machine, right? That like Batman just got rid of, but
Right, you
like,
wouldn't even think it was just there was just more lying around.
and to
Anywhere,
think that
anywhere,
if
bro.
one gave him that trouble, what does his army mean? And it's just it's crazy. And
Talon becoming.
she seems ready to unleash an entire army onto
Talon's
Gotham,
coming. Talon's
and
coming.
the book continues with some I guess not foreshadowing. What do you call that? Flashbacks of Batman seeing the Bat from his origin and saying, "Father, I will become a Bat." Basically, because he's passed out because of the injuries. He just fell into that hole and no one knew what became of him. He looked like he drowned. But he wakes up inside of a truck with jumper cables on his nipples. Uh, Seemingly, I guess that's a cool way to have a reverberation. So he has jumper cables on his nipples, and we find out that he's been resuscitated by Harper Row. Harper Row plays a big role in the New 52. She becomes a character called Bluebird, I want to say. Her and Duke Thomas, who becomes the Signal. Those are like the new characters they try to put in to have readers be able to attach to somebody in the Bat family if they're coming in for the first time. They get to learn alongside everybody else their origins, their motivations, and stuff like that. But Bluebird is I hope I'm getting her name right. She is a like almost like an oracle kind of.
Mhm.
Like she can make gadgets. She's real good at hacking, all that kind of stuff there. But Batman eventually gets to the gate. Like there's some secret back door, right? To the cave. He's eventually able to escape the van, and he travels through the sewers to
Emergency,
like some kind of like
emergency
emergency
Gotham
exit,
the emergency Gotham exit.
and he is met by a shotgun. held by Alfred.
Who the hell are you, mate?
Alfred is not playing around. It is too late, and he wants to know who the hell's trespassing. Turns out it's Bruce Wayne, um, aka Batman. Everyone is happy, ecstatic to know that Batman's okay, alive and well. He brings Batman back into the Batcave, and the first thing that Batman sees is a Talon that's
And he
that's
starts
there,
losing it,
and
yeah.
he bugs the hell out.
'Cause
He's like,
he's
"They
still,
told up.
yeah, he's still over it right now.
Why did you say that name?" Bugging. I mean, I would. I mean, he was held captive for like a week. That was out of control. But he sees this talent, standing there, and you find out that Alfred just found it because I guess they just threw the body away, the one that they wanted to dispose of.
Right in the garbage. So
I would have kept it.
Alfred's the garbage
I
picker.
would have kind of kept the outfit though, right? What do you think?
That outfit, yeah, the outfit was cool.
But they buried him in the outfit, or they didn't even bury him. They threw him like overboard, and they were able to find him, um, on ice, and so they were able now because he was on ice, and now because they had his body, they were able to do a lot more tests and find out information that they needed to know. Um, but we get a nice little other kind of perspective. We go back to the Court of Owls, and we see that the Court of Owls are talking to their next soldier. They're bringing him back. They're reviving him, and they're basically, you see it
Setting
basically
him up.
from his point of view. So you see how much care they take in arming them, and these are their soldiers for their battle. Um, and it was cool to kind of get that perspective. But back to the Batcave, Master Dick is there, and he wants to know, hey, what's going on? Who's this guy? Yada yada yada. And he's like, oh, he's like, Bruce, you look stressed. You look crazy stressed. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. The guy here, he is the Talon. Remember that guy, the assassin? He's like, oh yeah, is he dead? Yeah, he's dead. Oh, by the way, he has been around for a very long time. This man, his body's been around for a very long time. I can tell just from all the tests that I was able to do. Um, and his tooth has a bit of a metal in it called electrum, that is a bit of a conductive alloy of silver and copper. Um, so they he basically sums up that they've been using bodies that, and they are able to imbue these bodies with electrum through this tooth that allows them to live forever. And so the man that's on the table is a very, very old man. Not only is he a very, very old man, his name is William Cobb, and he is the great grandfather of Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson's great grandpappy was a Talon. Then it turns out,
Wow.
boom. Well, first he starts talking all crazy. He's like, listen, you're not only was your great grandpappy a Talon, you guys were all set up to be Talons, all you circus folk. They were gonna take all you circus folk, and they were gonna make you Talons. And he's like, basically Nightwing fights back, and I was kind of proud of him for this. He just says like, I'm my own man. I'm not gonna fall in line for what seems to be predestined to me, what you think it is, just because I have an ancestor that's a bad guy, just because of this. And he seems really, really upset by that. I mean, and Nightwing doesn't really have that kind of weird, shady backstory kind of deal, and so um, I could see him trying to fight against that. Like, just because you find out something about my past doesn't mean all of a sudden I'm gonna be a
I am
Talon or
Monster
whatever.
Dick.
And boom, backhand. We got a backhand so strong it
Strong.
knocks a tooth out.
The bat hand.
What did you think when you saw that backhand shot
I
before
was
the
like,
context?
what the hell? I want to see why, Bruce. Like,
I thought you're just gonna get
I was
out.
I was like, I hope you ain't copping an attitude, bro. I'll stop this train right now.
I swear, I thought we were just gonna get out. Um, but he knocks out the tooth. He's able to look at the tooth, and he's like, "See, told you. You had the same thing in your tooth. You were set up to be a Talon, just like your great grandpappy. It's in your genes. It's in your circus genes, your circus blood. They've been using you circus people, and you were gonna be a Talon." He's like, "Wait, but I probably would have been one, but you adopted me." You're damn right I did. I love you. I'm
Saved
your
your
pappy.
life.
Anyone could be a father. It takes a real man to be a pappy. And so he basically says, Some nights he basically some nights, and this is a cool moment. He says, I used to think on some nights on patrol that Gotham was watching over me, like it was my partner, like it was in the driver's seat with me, passenger side with me, on all these patrols, watching me keep her safe. But now I know that she was just looking at me. She was just looking almost like past me, like looking at everything going on. She has no favorites. Like this, maybe the Gotham that I thought I knew isn't the Gotham that I think. And the what more evidence is that than the very next page where you have a bunch of Talons there, seemingly what 5, 6, 7 of them there.
I didn't think that was gonna happen. I thought there was gonna be. I thought there was gonna be needed some type of ritual. I thought that bringing everybody else back was gonna take like a few weeks.
Uh, and you see that the Grandmaster or whatever is sitting there. And he's like, "It's time for all of you to take Gotham City." And when you turn that page, you see an army, an army of Talons
Flying off the mountain.
already. These deadly assassins of this ancient secret group ready to descend on Gotham City. And what's everyone gonna do?
I
Um,
don't know, because we just had a problem with this just one.
what
So
is
now we're getting like 50, 40.
So that was one of my first like beginning to end collecting issue stories was Court of Owls, and I thought it was amazing. I liked how smart they made Batman. Like, how were you able to make them both that smart yet go that crazy? Like, he's talking about metals and electrums and poisons and all this other.
I never seen Batman as Broken Man, but that
Bro,
was good, man.
um, I wish there was a little bit more Damien, like Batman father son stuff, because you saw how broken up Damien was about him being gone. I guess we'll find out if we continue to read City of Owls, which is volume 2.
Ooh.
We'll find out how everyone else is going to react to Bruce Wayne being alive. I can tell you this, spoiler alert: Bruce Wayne doesn't want to endanger any of the Bat family members, but
Oh,
we'll see how they take
that's gonna
that
be already too
information.
late. Watch.
We'll see how that
They on their way.
we'll see how they take that information. Is there any panel or line or scene that sticks
Any,
out to you in this book at all?
anytime he's walking around in the labyrinth, dude, it's just bananas to me.
Every time when he's going
And
crazy in the
then when I
labyrinth.
had to finally turn the comic book around, that was unexpected. I didn't see that coming. That was crazy. I stood there for a good couple minutes, just like, well,
I feel like every singular issue ended with a jaw dropping cliffhanger. Like you had the
yeah.
DNA's 100% Dick Grayson. You had that first floor getting blown up of the building and think Batman's gone. You have the labyrinth scene of him getting stabbed through, and he's always able to overcome. This was a great introduction, I thought, to a new Batman, a new 52 Batman, if I could say so myself. Zack Snyder, I think, did a great job. Greg Capullo, I think the art's amazing. I really, really like how everybody's drawn. I'm not saying it's the best Batman drawing, but obviously I'm gonna have my preference,
I
and
like it very much.
I really, really like it. And these are the two guys on Metal. That entire book that deals with the evil versions of Bruce Wayne that are like the Flash, Wonder Woman, and stuff. And I'm hoping to be covering the end of Metal soon. We started that, we busted that open here on Comic Major Issues, brought to you by Comic Book Clique. Hopefully, we'll be finishing that soon. So hopefully, we'll be finishing Metal. We just finished Court of Owls,
Ooh.
trying to get into the next installment of Doomsday Clock. Maybe we'll do City of Owls soon. We got Infinity War coming up soon. We got the
I
second year
can't take it.
anniversary of Comic Book Click coming up
Ooh,
soon.
happy
So
birthday.
we
To
have
dun, dun, dun.
tons and tons and tons of content left. Hopefully, more comic book reviews because I like
Mhm.
doing this and I
Yes.
like getting your first run reactions
Let them know how to get it.
for stories like this. You can get all. Go to your local comic book stores. Go to Amazon. Go to get them digitally. Get them anywhere they are found. Because if you're liking the movies, if you like our movie reviews and our TV reviews, a lot of these stories are pulled straight from the comic books. And the way that these books are drawn, they are drawn like full scenes, like storyboards, and you can see how scenes progress, how emotions how they're expressed. Action scenes, you see how glass is broken, jaws are broken, and bones are broken, and it takes the best writers
Eye
and
candy, man.
yeah, the same way it takes the best writers and directors to make a movie, it takes the best artists, pencilers, um, you know, uh, inks, everybody. Um, to on a project like this, and you have to have love for the material. And Zach's Scott Snyder, Scott
Crazy
Snyder.
man.
I
I
said I
love
have
it.
a lisp, and it kind of messes up. Scott Snyder loves Batman, and hey, I challenge you, read this book and you'll love Batman too. Carlos Maximus hated Batman, and he kind of sort of likes Batman now.
Batman's kind of my guy, man.
I'm telling you, it's because of books like
Get
this. It's
over bats.
because of this. And Gotham is what's Gotham?
Worthy. Wow, you saw what I
I
did
like
there?
that. Gotham is worthy. And if you think you're worthy and you want to hear more stuff from us of major issues fame, if you want to hear more stuff about the podcast in general, guess what? We're on Stitcher now. We're on Google Play.
Moving on
We're
up.
on Podbean.com. We're on most places you can find podcasts. We're working our way onto Spotify. That's the next thing I wanted
Here we come.
to announce. We're on YouTube. Literally, Google Major Issues Podcast, and you will find us wherever podcasts are found. And if you do like us and you want more of this stuff, do us a favor. Please, please, please answer the call. Go rate and review us on iTunes specifically, because if you're able to rate and review us, not only do we get a honest opinion about how you guys feel about this
Worthy
cast,
opinions.
we get to find out how to improve this cast to make sure it's the greatest in all comic books and comic book media reviews. And that all starts with you. I've been to the future. I know this becomes huge. Major Issues becomes the best podcast of all time in the future. I just can't tell you guys how. You guys have to just believe me, go
Go
along
on the
with it,
journey with us.
support, rate and review. And like I said, if you're able to leave a good review, let's say like 5 stars, and say like you really like it, who knows? Maybe somebody who's looking for a Court of Owls review sees this 5 star review and goes, I need to listen to these guys. And next thing you know, the clique is bigger, the clique is growing, and
Deep.
ain't nobody messing with my clique. Click, click. So we need to make the clique grow even bigger. So make sure you rate and review us on iTunes with the Major Issues Podcast. And Comic Book Clique doesn't just do podcasts. We got memes. We got YouTube videos. We got crash courses on some of your favorite television shows like Luke Cage and CW's The Flash. All you have to do is go to facebook.com/comicbookclick, Instagram @comicbookclick, or use the hashtag comicbookclick to talk about all the latest and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. And we're going to be 2 years old this year. 2 years old. So here's to more comics, here's to more movies, here's to more reviews. Carlos Maximus, here's to more episodes of the Major Issues Podcast. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don. This has been the Major Issues Podcast review of the New 52, Court of Owls.
Who?
By
I'm
Batman.
your Cloudus Maximus. That's who.
This has been our review of Batman Court of Owls. And you?
You
Yes, you.
are.
Gotham. No, wait.
Oh.
We got. No, that's
Whoa.
not how it goes. You?
You
Yes, you.
are.
Batman. Wait, no, I got this. Ready? You?
You
Yes, you.
are.
Worthy.